Hello, welcome back to the second video in the VBScript series, and today we'll be continuing on the program which we have written earlier about the my salary, my spouse salary, and how much we made together per week and per year. Let's say now we have a situation, and if we have been asked to find out or to write a script where how much amount we would have made every week. So starting from week 1 through week 52. All right. So we got to count, let's say. So we are counting. So we are saying that, okay, from week 1 to week 52, we want to find out like every week how much, what kind of money we would have made by week 1, week 2, week 3, week 26, week 36, week 46, and eventually week 52. All right, so let's count it. So for that, I will be using a variable, right? And usually for count purpose, you use a variable called I. That's a standard way in programming. So I have to declare a variable. So I'm going to say dim I. All right. Now we have to keep doing this from week 1 through week 52, right? So if when we have to do something continuously from week 1 through week X, then we make use of what is called a for loop. So we would say for. Now, notice as soon as I said for, it completed that with something called next. In for loop, you have two clauses. There's something called for and then next, right? It starts with for and it ends with next, and anything you want to do should be between for and next. So we are saying we want to run this for loop, and so we have to put the condition for I equals 1 to how many weeks? 52 weeks. So we are saying that from 1 through 52, we want you to do this. Do what? Let's say I want to do this. I want to say that I'm going to take this, copy, and then put it in here. And let's figure out a logic here. So this would give me together we make per week times 52 is for annual, right? So let's say I want it for 1. This will be like together we make for week 1, right? So let's say for time being I'm not gonna put it into a variable. I just need to print it out. So I could say print what? Let's say the text is together we made, right, by week. Let's say together we made by week, let's say 1, right? Week 1. What? The concatenation operator. And if I say together we made by week 1, and so this is on week 1, I am making whatever I'm making here, my salary, spouse salary for the week, times 1, right? Because this will be for the week 1. So if I want to do it for week 2, then I should change that to 2, and this should be 2. So if you notice, if I change this to 3, this is going to give me for 3. So rather than doing this, changing it here, we are using this counter called I. So in place of this 3, I can use something called I, and in place of this 3, if I use an I here, let's see what happens. Now notice that it says print, right? Together we made by week I, and together we make per week times I. If I run this, Of course, I'm printing it, so it is going to show. But keep an eye on this I, right? And let's see what happens. Okay, so I am going to run this. It is okay. We have something here that test ran, and what I see here is something. Okay, we have the numbers, right? As you can see. Okay, now let's take a look. Uh, Together we made by week I is 2000. Together we made by week I is 4000. Week I, so this I would rather want this I to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So let's see how we're going to fix that. So if I put this I is something which is getting incremented. So it gets incremented. The first time I run this for loop, it is going to check the value of I as 1, and it is going to multiply this by 1, and then it goes next. Next is I becomes 2 now. So it multiplies that and then puts 2 here. Now the question is, why it is not putting a 2 here? The reason it is not putting a 2 here is because this I is inside this string. This I is inside that string. So I have to put this I outside the string so that it can put a value in it. But then if I do that, if I run this, I would have a problem. Why? Because VBScript would not know this is one part of it, this is something else, this is something else. Whenever you need to do things like that, so you have to put a concatenation operator. So I'm going to be putting now, so I took that I outside this string, right? And if I run it now, if I run this, you will notice that it is going to run, and notice how fast it was. Like within a blink of the eye, it gave me this, right? Okay, now you're like, okay, together we made by week 1. Now this week 1, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is incrementing, right? And it is giving you the right amount, but then there is no space in between, right? So you see my point, right? So you see what I'm doing here. So what I did is I ran this for loop from 1 to 52, right? Because 52 weeks. And then we said, okay, together whatever we made here times I, but then now there's no space in between. So where did we needed that space? We needed that space between. So together we made by week 1 and then the amount. So between this week 1 and amount, if you put this white space, VBScript would not consider this as space. To our eye, it is space, but to VBScript, there's no space. So how can we put some space in there? Of course, we have to use this empty string, right? Now, since we use this empty string, and now this is something else. So in between, we have to have an ampersand operator. So this is concatenation operator. So this puts an empty space there. If you want to put something else there, like a dash, 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 you could do that, or you could put like, whatever characters you want to put in there. If you don't put any characters, then you could put some empty space. So let us run now and see what's going on. So if you see now, it is running. It ran so fast, and then it finished the test. And now you can see that, okay, here is your, together we made by week 1, 2000. By week 2, it's 4000. Week 3, 6000. Week 4, 8. Likewise, by the end of 52nd week, we had made 104,000 in that. And then we have every week together we make 2000, thankful for the job, and then our annual income, that is coming because of the things which we did not put inside the loop. So this is the continuation of that. So this is outside the loop. Okay, so what did we do now? So basically what we did is we introduced ourselves to something called a for loop. For loop is if you need to count from a certain number to a certain number, you would do that by using a for loop, and then you say, and whatever you intend to do from that number to that number, that code or that line, you would put it between for and next, and then basically it's going to keep incrementing it depending on whether it had reached to that number or not. So if I go and if I double this, right, so I could put any number here. So this is why did I put 52? Because there are 52 weeks in a year. So let's say I want to go and then put like for 2 years. In 2 years, how many weeks? I guess 104. So is it going to do it for all 104? Yeah. So let me just run it and let's see what it does. So basically, as you can see, within what, like 2 seconds or 3 seconds or maybe 4 seconds, it did it for 104, right? 104 weeks. All right. So so the point here is you could use a for loop if you continuously need to perform an action from this to that range, right? So that's your for loop. Now, in between, we can have some logic here. Now, we could say that if it is the end of a year, right? And end of a year would be 52 weeks, right? So now we're talking about introducing what is called if statements. So let's say if, right? Now, as soon as I do if, notice that it said if, then, and end if. Right? So now when it was for and next. If it is if, it is if, and then you have to have a condition and then end this condition. So I'm going to take out this end if from here because I'm going to put that end if here and then write my condition. My condition is, what is my condition? Let's say if I equals what? 52. Right? If I equals 52, that means that 1 year had completed. Then I want to say something, right? What do I want to say? Print is we are happy that we worked for 1 year, 1 full year, something like that, right? 1 full year. So this is okay. This we are saying that okay. The point here is we want to see if it ever would hit like 52, and when it hits 52, whatever you want to do, we could do that. So if I equals 52, that means that if the 52nd week we want to say something. Hey, and what we are saying is we are happy that we worked for 1 full year, right? And if you want to know how much you would have made at that point, we could use this. And so this is basically what we could say at the end of 52 weeks. And now I could do an end if right here, let's say, and forget about this end if. I'm going to take this end if out. So what this is going to do, basically, it is going to keep checking. It is going to do its loop, right? But it will check for the if condition. If I equals 52, then it will print this. Otherwise, it won't print anything else, because the otherwise is the English word, right? But to VBScript, it is called else. If I equals 52, then it is going to do it. Else, if I equals 104, it will do something. So if you want to continue writing that, we will be using else. But I'll come to else in a second. So let's see what this would do right now. So I'm running it, and it is doing something. And let's see what it had done. So I come back, I go here, and let me see what it did. So let's see the week 52. Here is the week 52, right? So after week 51, I said we are happy that we worked for 1 full year, and the money I would have made at that time is 104,000. And then I'm continuing to do this, right? Now, if I want to say that I'm happy that I worked for 2 years, then what I would do, here in the if, right, I could continue and I could check if, right, else if, right, else if, right, else if what, I equals 104, right, then we want to do something, right? What do you want to do? I want to take this, let's say, right, and copy and then put it in here and say that, okay, for this is two full years, right? So what I have done here is I'm saying that if I equals 52, do that. If I equals 104, say that it's 2 years, right? So let us run that, and it is running, it is running, it is running, and then it is completed. And let's take a look in here what it did. And as you can see, when I is 52, it said that. When I is 104, that is 2 years, it said that, right? And the math is right. It is doing all this, everything right. Okay, so what we have introduced ourselves to, we have introduced in today's video the for loop and the if statements, right? How does the for loop works? How does the if statements work? Now, in our course, we will be using this for loop, right? Because we might be going to an Excel spreadsheet, and then we will be getting the data from the Excel spreadsheet. So we would not know how many rows will be there in the Excel spreadsheet. So we will check that using the for loop. So we'll be checking as long as we find something in so many rows in that Excel sheet, we want to bring the data. So here I'm just doing this math, right? I'm just multiplying that. There I will be doing something else. So as we progress in the course, you will see how we will be using the for loop and the if statements. All right. Before I end, I want to introduce one quick thing in here, which is this is too predictable, because our salary is always 1,000 and my spouse salary is always 1,000. Now, can you imagine how can this script behave if I try and put something different here? Now, you might say that, okay, try to put like 500 or 800, but let's say I want to put that number when I am running the script. When I run the script, I want something to ask me that, okay, input something in this box, right? Input your salary per week in this box, right? And input your spouse salary in this box, right? So rather than hard coding, this is called hard coding, where you put the number in here. I want to collect that information. I want the user to put his salary in there. So how I can improvise? I'm just gonna comment this. I'm gonna comment this, and I'm gonna write this. I say my salary per week, and rather than saying that it is 1,000 or what, I would put something called input box, and parenthesis begin, and here I will say enter my salary per week, right? And I close. So I'll come to explaining that input box in a second. Now let us see how it works first. Okay, so what I did, the whole script is exactly the same thing. Just this part I have commented. Rather than hard coding a value, I would like to gather that value into an input box from the user. So if I run this, it is going to come here, and then it is asking me, okay, enter my salary per week. Guess what? My salary might have increased. I got a promotion, and my salary right now is $1,400 per week. Okay, so I entered 1,400, and it is calculating. It is calculating, and you can see this yellow line moving. And then it is done. So let's see if the numbers change here. So we can go ahead and then take a look at the first one. since my salary is 1400, my spouse salary, we did not change it. It was still 1000. So this is 1400 and 1000 is 1400, or rather 2400. And now week 2, it is 4800. Week 3, 7200. So you notice like how powerful the script has become now, that it can take any data, right? It need not be like 1000, 1000. It can take any data, and then it can give us how much we made in a year, how much we made in 2 years, right? It's 249,600. Now imagine if I do the same for my spouse. So I comment this, meaning no more hard coding, and I say, okay, my spouse salary per week, and equals input box. Now, what is input box? Input box is a VBScript function. What it does is, it when you use input box as a function in VBScript, it will pop out for you that box, right? And when the box comes up, it will have a text box where you could put something. But if I don't give what it is telling me to, what it is prompting me, if you see here, prompt means that put the text which you want the user to read, and then based on what you say here, he will be acting upon that, right? So I mean, what do you think I should be saying here? I should be saying that enter my spouse salary, right? So I would say enter my my spouse salary per week. All right. Okay. Now I kept this as an uppercase. I just so that we see that how it is behaving. Okay, now this has become extremely powerful. Let's see what I mean by that. I'm gonna run that. First box pops up. Enter my salary per week. Guess what? I got another promotion, and now it is $1,600. Right? Okay. Next thing, immediately it comes back and says, okay, enter my spouse salary, or enter your spouse salary, whatever you want, however you want to word it. Let's say my spouse also got a promotion. We're doing good here. So I hit that. So I had 1,800. She got 1,200. So let's see what is going on when it comes to us making money. Whoa. Let's see. There is something wrong here. Don't you think there's something wrong? Well, okay, let's talk about it. This would be like a lotto, right? This would really be like a lottery coming up, because by week 1, I would have 1,600. Now, take a note of what is in here, right? It is 1,600 and 1,200. It did not added it. It rather concatenated it. This, if we write a program like this, and if I get paid like this, then I don't have to teach anymore. I don't have to teach anymore, right? So there's a serious bug here, right? Okay, let's introduce ourselves to what is a bug, right? Okay, there's a serious bug. If there is an error in your program, there are two types of error. One error is a compilation error, meaning that the program would not even compile. You cannot even run, right? It just stops and give you that box, and in that box it will say that something is not there. Do you want me to stop the script? Do you want me to retry it? Do you want me to skip, or do you want me to debug, right? So that's a compilation error. The script does not get compiled. Then there is something called a logical error. This is, my logic is flawed here, right? But you might say, how is your logic flawed, right? So it is entering, whatever you told it to enter. This is entering, and then it is supposed to add. Well, let's talk about what had happened here. What happened here is, when you declare a variable, right? We never mention what kind of information this variable is going to hold in it. Is that a number, or is that like some text or whatever? So if you do not mention the type of information you're going to store in here, then it defaults to what is called string, right? So it's a string. So the data type of this variable is string right now. So this 1600 and 1200 were two strings. So when you have this plus sign and when you have these two strings in there and when you have the plus sign, they get concatenated. They don't get added. So how did it know? Because when something you enter into the input box basically sends to this variable as a string. Now, what we have to do is we have to say that even though it is sending it as a string, but this will hold a number. So this variable. So now we have to talk about the data type of a variable. So I'm going to say dim my salary as what kind of information it is going to store as, let's say, double, right? So what is double? Double means that it's a data type, or as integer, right? So this is basically what we are mentioning as the data type in here. But you know what I'm going to do is I am going to stop here and then continue in our next video, and I will talk to you about, because data type is a new topic, and I don't want to have many topics in while I'm introducing you to something in here. But then you saw the error, and then we are going to fix the error in our next video by introducing ourselves to what is called data types, right? So a variable should have data types. Well, again, thank you so much for watching this video, and this was the second video in the series of learning VBScript from TrainingRite.com, and we want you to come back and then see the rest of the videos, and you will find those videos in this section. If you see here, I have free QTP and Selenium beginner videos, and when you go in there, when you click on that, you will find that we have links here to all the videos, and this is a getting started with VBScript. This is video 1. Likewise, right under it you will find video 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, okay. We will see you back again in the next video. Meanwhile, happy practicing, happy testing, happy learning VB scripting. All right.